Structure. If Unit 6 placed ADAB digital and AI ethics as the moral compass of the technological age, then Unit 7 shows how those values take institutional form. This is where the transformative ecosystem crystallizes into practice, where universities, schools, and learning communities evolve from bureaucratic structures into living organisms of enlightenment. Blue Book Ecosystem Transformative Education, ED.
Academic Unit Nomor
7. Institutional Transformation and the Smart Campus. 7.1. Conceptual Introduction. The institution as a living system. An educational institution is not merely a building of classrooms, servers, and management systems. It is a living organism with its own soul, rhythm, and destiny. Within the ET worldview, transformation begins when an institution stops functioning as a hierarchy of control and starts evolving as a community of consciousness. The idea of the smart campus often emphasizes connectivity, sensors, and automation. Yet in the ET lexicon, smart does not refer only to digital capability, but to spiritual intelligence embedded in system design. A truly smart campus is one that thinks ethically, feels empathetically, acts responsibly, and learns continuously, an organism of light, Nur al-Ilm, and order, Nim al-Hikmah. ET therefore redefines institutional transformation as the process of cultivating spiritual, digital symbiosis, the balance between innovation and introspection, between efficiency and empathy. 7.2. Philosophical Foundation, from bureaucracy to ecology. Historically, most educational institutions were constructed upon industrial metaphors, administration as management, classrooms as production lines, students as products. Such bureaucratic logic emphasized control and compliance rather than creativity and conscience. The ET paradigm dismantles this metaphor and replaces it with one of ecology. An institution, like an ecosystem, must breathe, interact, and regenerate. Policy becomes the root, governance the trunk, learning the leaf, and culture the fragrance.
Each part nourishes the other.
Philosophically, this transformation draws from systems thinking, Maqid al-Sharia, the higher objectives of divine law, and the prophetic model of community, Ummah. It sees institutions as collective souls tasked with cultivating balance, tawazun, justice, ADL, and beneficence, izn. The smart campus is not a space of mechanical control, but a moral ecology, a network of meaning. 7.3. The spiritual logic of institutional change. ET argues that institutional reform must begin with intention, niyya. True transformation arises not from new software or facilities, but from the awakening of collective sincerity, ikal jama. When the leadership sets an intention for renewal, that intention becomes the metaphysical seed that reorders the system. This is followed by Muzaba al-Muassasa, institutional self-reflection. Through structured introspection, universities and schools assess not only their performance indicators, but their moral temperature. Are we nurturing compassion or merely producing compliance? Are digital tools enabling wisdom or merely efficiency? ET teaches that every meeting, decision, and innovation must begin with remembrance, dhikr, and reflection, fikr, so that transformation remains sacred, not superficial. 7.4. The 4 pillars of institutional transformation. Institutional transformation within ET unfolds through 4 interlocking pillars: ethical governance, humanized digitalization, reflective community, and sustainable culture. Ethical governance ensures that leadership is guided by adab and justice. It frames policy as service, not domination, and places moral integrity above managerial ambition. Humanized digitalization means that technology is applied with consciousness. Smart systems are designed to simplify human effort without simplifying human purpose. Automation supports educators rather than replaces them. Reflective community represents the renewal of collegial life. Faculty, students, and staff gather regularly in circles of reflection, halakha al-fikr, to discuss ethical dilemmas, institutional challenges, and creative ideas. This fosters a shared culture of sincerity and innovation. Sustainable culture embeds transformation into institutional habit. When ethical governance and reflective practice persist long enough, they form a stable tradition of excellence, istiqamah. 7.5. Scriptural grounding, institutions as trusts amana.
The Quran remains humanity.
Indeed, we offered the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, and they refused to bear it and feared it, but man undertook to bear it. Qs Al-Azab 33:72. ET interprets this verse not only personally but institutionally. Every university, every school, every educational network is a bearer of that amana. Buildings, budgets, and technologies are secondary. The primary responsibility is the preservation of truth, adab, and hikmah. A smart campus that upholds this trust transforms its operations into worship. Ibadah Muassasiyah managing resources becomes an act of devotion. Maintaining justice in decision-making becomes an expression of servitude. 7.6. The Smart Campus Ecosystem, Structure and Flow. In the ET model, the smart campus is envisioned as a living ecosystem composed of 4 dynamic domains. Ethical policy core, the moral constitution that shapes decision-making. Digital infrastructure, the neural network that connects learning processes. Reflective human core, the collective consciousness of educators and learners. Cultural atmosphere, the spiritual climate that sustains harmony. Information technology acts as the circulatory system that carries knowledge and feedback through these domains. Reflection serves as the respiratory system, allowing the institution to breathe ethically. Leadership functions as the heart that pumps sincerity through every policy. The ecosystem thus mirrors the human body described in Hadith. The believers, in their mutual love, mercy, and compassion, are like a single body. When one limb suffers, the whole body responds with fever and restlessness.
HR Muslim.
A smart campus, in this sense, is a body of knowledge and compassion. 7.7. The integration of HUX into institutional design. The Human Index, HUX, previously described as the architecture of 10 intelligences, becomes the diagnostic instrument for institutional balance. Each intelligence corresponds to a domain of campus life. Cognitive intelligence manifests in research culture, emotional intelligence in student relations, moral intelligence in governance, spiritual intelligence in community engagement, technological intelligence in smart systems, ecological intelligence in campus sustainability. Through HUX-based assessment, institutions can identify areas of imbalance, for instance, high digital capability but low reflective culture, and design corrective strategies. Thus, HUX transforms institutional evaluation into a moral mirror, not merely a managerial tool. 7.8. The role of leadership, from control to custodianship. In the ET vision, leadership is a sacred trust, wilaya, not a privilege. The leader of a transformative institution is a custodian of meaning, tasked with harmonizing policy, people, and purpose. Such leadership requires hikmah al-idara, wisdom of administration, where every decision is preceded by consultation, shura, guided by fairness and infused with prayer. Leaders act not as owners of institutions, but as gardeners of ecosystems, watering virtue, pruning excess, and cultivating future seeds. When leadership is grounded in adab, the institution itself becomes a form of moral education, a living textbook of integrity. 7.9. Civilizational significance, the smart campus as micro-ummah. ET envisions each educational institution as a micro-ummah, a small civilization within civilization. Its campuses are not isolated entities, but luminous nodes in the global network of wisdom. When institutions operate with sincerity, They emit moral light that radiates beyond their physical boundaries, shaping communities, industries, and policies. A smart campus in this sense is not defined by the number of servers or screens, but by the serenity of its spaces, the justice of its systems, and the compassion of its people. It is where technology bows to ethics and where knowledge is offered as mercy. Through the proliferation of such institutions, Tamadun Tagiri, the transformative civilization, gradually materializes. 7.10. Summary statement. The institution as an ecosystem of light. Institutional transformation within ET is the realization of education as a living moral ecology. A smart campus, guided by adab and sustained by digital consciousness, becomes both a symbol and a substance of enlightened civilization. ET proclaims that the future of higher education lies not in automation, but in illumination, not in artificial intelligence alone, but in ethical intelligence woven through every circuit of institutional life. When a campus learns to think ethically, it becomes a lamp. When it lives ethically, it becomes a constellation. Transition to academic unit number 8. Next, we will enter community transformation and the learning society, where ET extends its reach beyond the campus.